What started as rumblings in political backrooms has now become a full-blown crisis with sweeping consequences. The revelation that an international arrest warrant has been issued for Gwede Mantashe, one of the African National Congress's most influential leaders, has shaken South Africa's political establishment to its core. For months, Mantashe was subjected to a fierce spotlight with mounting accusations of tainted dealings, abuse of power, and manipulation of public money. His name had been murmured in relation to suspect contracts, offshore accounts, and political patronage. But although rumor ran wild, few thought things would go this far. An arrest warrant across borders represents a dramatic twist. This is no longer a situation that can be waved off as if domestic politics. President Cyril Ramaphosa's ANC has been plunged into a never-before-seen state of panic. Closed-door meetings are now the norm, some running well into the wee hours. Political tacticians, lawyers, and factional kingpins are racing against time to limit the damage before it spirals out of control. This is not merely the issue of an individual man's personal liberty. This warrant attacks at the very core of the ANC's credibility and stability. It has the potential to destroy long-standing political coalitions and compel the party to expose deep-seated flaws that have been plastered over for decades. For decades, Gwede Mantashe has been regarded as one of the ANC's most last-word keymakers. His reach is from provincial party organization to national leadership circles. Famous for possessing acute political insight and unbending negotiation skills, he has been a key player in winning policy battles, building coalitions, and defining the ANC's strategic agenda. In the party, Mantashe has been regarded as much a forceful strategist as a gatekeeper of political opportunity. However, in recent years, a darker cloud has fallen over his reputation. Accusations have risen. Charges of tainted tenders, illegal enrichment, and manipulation of state-owned businesses. His detractors charge him with employing his political influence not for change, but for survival and the good of his inner circle. The issuing of an international arrest warrant has now placed all the rumors in the blinding light of worldwide attention. The action suggests evidence against him has not just been assembled but is so compelling that foreign authorities feel it is worth pursuing. International involvement means that this case will be more difficult to cover up with local political posturing or judicial foot-dragging. This news also has explosive implications for the ANC's internal dynamics. Mantashe is not a lone operator. He is well embedded in the party's web of power. His demise could unravel decades-old relationships, necessitate realignments, and open up opportunities for ambitious challenges. President Ramaphosa, a politician who has attempted to tread the thin wire between reform and party solidarity, is now in an almost impossible situation. He has made over and over again vows to eliminate corruption, being the man who will bring back integrity to South Africa's administration. Now, however, one of his strongest supporters, that a man that many considered inviolate, is targeted by transnational law enforcement. The way Ramaphosa reacts will determine not just his presidency but the future of the ANC. If he commits his full weight to supporting Mantashe, he risks alienating members committed to reform and the wider public who have lost patience with guarantees of clean governance that do not appear to be delivered. If he keeps his distance too firmly, however, he risks triggering a factional struggle in the ANC, which could destabilize his leadership and demoralize the coherence of the government. Insiders report that the president's advisors are sharply divided. Some call for action, demanding that Mantashe resign, work with investigations, and clear his name legally. Others caution that throwing him under the bus will encourage Ramaphosa's opposition, divide the party, and provide ammunition to the opposition leading into a highly important election cycle. Ramaphosa's public silence on the issue has only fueled speculation. Is he weighing his next move, or is he grappling with the political price of each potential path? Meanwhile, the warrant has widened old ideological and strategic chasms in the ANC. Reformers believe this is the time to take a firm stand against corruption, even at the cost of losing influential friends. Traditionalists view the warrant as a politically driven assault, perhaps engineered by outside players to undermine the ANC and sully its liberation history. This quiet battle within is bleeding far beyond secret meeting rooms. The fight is raging in parliament, in the press, in local ANC branches, and on social media websites where hashtags demanding the arrest of Mantashe are popular alongside campaigns in his defense. ANC's public reputation, already dented by decades of corruption scandals, service delivery protests, and economic stagnation, now takes a further heart-wrenching blow. For a broad segment of South Africans, it is like another betrayal by reformer-sounding leaders who cannot walk their talk. Aside from the internal politics of the party, this case also raises immediate questions regarding South Africa's global reputation. An arrest warrant of this scale indicates that other counts governments and legal institutions are taking keen interest in South African political corruption cases that could attract international pressure, potential sanctions, and increased scrutiny of the ANC government's financial transactions. Economists are cautioning that extended political uncertainty may destabilize investors, undermine the rand, and deepen the nation's fragile economic recovery. Civil society organizations, on the other hand, perceive this as a chance to call for genuine accountability, a time to call for systemic reform and not cosmetic adjustments. South Africa is at a critical juncture now. Will the ANC make the current crisis an opportunity for substantive reform, or will it succumb to defensive rhetoric and intra-party battles? The response could well chart the course of the country for decades to come. If the party decides to reform, it would involve unprecedented openness, prosecution of implicated leaders, irrespective of position, and an undertaking to break up the entrenched patronage networks which have lubricated corruption. If it decides to look after itself, the short-term damage limitation may rescue some political careers, but at the expense of further undermining public confidence, maybe irrevocably. The Gwede Mantashe case transcends the realm of law. It is a symbolic challenge to the democratic strength of South Africa, a struggle about the definition of justice, and an indicator of whether leadership actually believes in the ideals they so frequently reference. For the ANC, the weeks and months ahead will be a test of character. Choices during this time can determine the party's destiny in the next election and possibly whether it can continue to be South Africa's ruling force or is reduced to a shell of its current self. One thing is certain, the eyes of the nation and indeed the world are fixed on this unfolding drama. International news outlets are already framing the story as its stress test for South Africa's political and judicial institutions.